couple nights ago, I finished Prisoner by Camille Elliott, Christian Regency romance. Not really romance. Jane Austen meets Mission Impossible. That was number 5 of the series. So, at the end of last, number 4, Lady Wynwood was taken prisoner, and Septimus Elliott was traitor. So in the beginning of this one, they've got Lady Wynwood. They had shot Septimus and left him on the floor of the carriage bleeding out. And Lady Wynwood is blindfolded and she's kind of going in and out of consciousness. They take Septimus to an inn and they pay the innkeeper to have him taken care of, not to let him die, so that they can deal with him worse later on. I feel bad for Septimus. They take Lady Wynwood to a hunter's cabin deep in the woods, and they being Maxim Seawood, and he's the pale-eyed man, and then also Dr. Hedditch. Those are the two that are with them. So they've got her prisoner. Sol is going out of his mind with worry because he likes Laura. And but they have to deal with the Ramparts, their organization. And you can tell there's something sketchy about two of the Ramparts leaders. Now, the one who's over them all is Sir Derek, and I'm not quite sure what his allegiance is yet, what his end game is yet. Sol seems to trust him partially, not entirely. Mr. Appleby and Mr. Antingham are both very antagonistic toward each other, towards others not of their group. And there's definitely some discrepancies between which agents will follow orders for which superior, I guess you could say. Mr. Drydale, or Sol Drydale, being kind of fourth down. Maybe he's equal with Appleby and Antingham. It's hard to tell, but he's under Sir Derek, so that means he's Sir Derek's man. So that Sir Derek is superior to all of them. So Phoebe and Kariah end up going back to the hotel room that Laura was staying in. They're taking care of Aya, who has a concussion and was beat pretty badly by Mr. Maxim and Dr. Hedditch. So they're taking care of her and Dr. Scholl, who they got back from Jack's men. It was been a while since I started the book, so it's going to take me a bit to remember the details. But Mr. Colton Jones is with them, Michael's with them, Phoebe and Kariah, and some of either Appleby's men, I believe it's Appleby's men, come in rather aggressively to take Phoebe and Kariah into custody. Well, Michael puts a stop to that. And they eventually get to the Ramparts, where they are being held in an interrogation chambers that is really meant for criminals, not for civilians. Meanwhile, Lady Amer's love interest, Thorne, he has gone back to the prison to check on their prisoners, whom either Antingham or Appleby's men let escape. So we've got that going for us. So he rushes back to tell Sol about it. So Sol and Michael, Sol finds out where Michael, Phoebe, and Kariah are, and he moves them to a different room, a room that's more welcoming to civilians, and basically gets Sir Derek to release the girls, even despite the girls wanting to stay and help with the investigation. Soul kind of hints to Phoebe that she is not needed here, which at first she takes offense to, but then she realizes that he's giving her permission to try and find out where Laura is, her aunt, because the Ramparts aren't too concerned about where Lady Wynwood is. They just want to get Apothecary Jack, and they want to get the root, which Soul and his group, they don't really want them to get the root because they don't think they're going to use it for good purposes. So Phoebe and Kariah gets the keys to Bianca's laboratory to go and check that laboratory out. Don't remember much about what's going on there. Michael goes with other Ramparts agents to Dr. Hedge's house to see if they can find more information, and that's where they come upon a maid, but the guy he's with is really being really aggressive with her and not allowing her a chance to even trust him so that he can get information from her. But Michael's not superior enough to take over that interrogation. At this point, oh my goodness. Thorne has been tasked with hanging out with Phoebe and Kariah. And so that's what he's doing. He's spending, making sure they're okay, getting them where they need to go to the laboratory and everything. And then back to Laura's townhouse to get the servants and to talk to the servants. However, Phoebe's dad is still after her, so she's got to watch out at her house because he's sending his servants to kidnap her and force her into a marriage to Mr. Poe, so that she can be out of his hands, pretty much. Well, Phoebe gets the impression from God that her aunt would be somewhere in the vicinity of Lord Wynwood's property area. So she eventually convinces Kariah and Rosamond, that's his name, Mr. Rosamond, to go down there. And they take a servant, Jane, and they take Clara and Calvin and Mr. Havner, the coachman, to go with them to investigate down there. And they're looking into places that may be rented out, that may be empty, that they may have taken Laura to. They do find her. Kariah finds... Well, Phoebe goes through her relations lawyers, Lord Wynwood, who had broken his leg and was lonely in his house and welcomed all the company that they could bring. So she goes through his lawyer to find a place that, are for rent, for people to rent out. So she narrows it down to like 2 places to check. And Kariah comes in and says that somebody had come in matching the description of Seaward, Mr. Maxim, for medicines and such to help with Laura's healing. Don't know if it's him exactly, but they go and check out the house, and they find Apothecary Jack outside the house burying bodies. So they killed the caretakers that were there before they got there, and they killed Apothecary Jack had ended up coming into the lodge and shooting Dr. Heddich, only after he had spent at least 2 days beating Laura, trying to get information out of her. Mr. Maxim is using his manipulative tactics to try and get answers from her. And they kind of form an interesting relationship where Laura's kind of trying to use his emotions to get answers from him, and he's kind of trying to use her emotions to get answers from her. But he gets her thinking about Bianca's notebooks, where she would have had all the gardening information and all of any other information, because she was constantly writing in it. So that's probably going to be in the next book, that part. But they do rush back to get Soul and Michael to help them get Laura free. And they do. Michael being on the route still, because they still haven't found a way to save him. Not getting regular doses of the root is going to eventually kill him, and so they're still looking for a way to save him. Laura's hoping that it's in Bianca's notebooks. So they do. They take out the guards that had come with Apothecary Jack, and Apothecary Jack and Mr. Maxim, they do escape along with one of the guards. They take the guards that they got down, the two guards that they did were able to capture, they took to a different prison because the other one was compromised. And then at one point, Michael tells Soul that the three prisoners that they had before were strung up on a ship mast and were eviscerated, basically. Artwork of the human body done by Apothecary Jack. Mr. Maxim had gotten into the prison where the other two were from Laura's captivity and basically just slit their throat and ran. So one of the last scenes is you see Mr. Maxim with Septimus. It seems like he gave him the root, a form of the root, not one to turn him into Berserker, to help him heal faster and better. Because they're going to use him, and they're going to continue to use his family as a threat over Septimus. So the story is getting really interesting, and I'm really, really liking it. There's becoming more and more mentions of following God's will and relying on God to save them or to help them and guide them, and I like that. It's getting to be a really good one. So that was Prisoner by Camille Elliott.